Hi, welcome back to the NAMM 2020 live stream. This is Blake with Yamaha. I'm here with a YC61 stage keyboard. Now, in this video, what I want to do is focus on some of the cool effects that are in the YC61. It's really a great selection of all sorts of different effects. There's stuff that are more conventional things, obviously, like the reverb section over here, and delays and choruses and so on. But there's some really interesting esoteric kind of effects. You can have, first of all, let's talk about how many effects can you have simultaneously. We've counted up, it's about 9 effects, including the EQ over here that you can have simultaneously, and it's kind of cool how they route and what you can do with them. So let's just start out here with this first one that I call Pad of Crom, the Pad of Crom. So I turned a lot of this stuff off here so you can hear kind of what the effects actually do for this. So I started here with the Keys A section. Now, if you haven't already seen the first video or figured this out yet on your own, you have 3 sections: organ, Keys A, and Keys B, and then you have this kind of effects section over here. So we're going to start here in the Keys section with Keys A, and I have this very kind of paddy sound here. Now currently, there's nothing on, there's no effects I have on here except reverb, and I'll even kill the reverb off on this, so you just hear just this kind of cool pad sound in here. Now you are hearing definitely the filter that's in here because we do have resonant filters, and there's some resonant filter control I can add to this as well. But this is a pretty kind of a fairly high fidelity pad. It's got a lot of highs in it, definitely. So let's see what I can do just with the effects on here. Now, in this Keys A section that I have in front of me, you'll see that there's 2 effects, Effect 1 and Effect 2. Now these are separate for Keys A and B. So I have 2 effects per key section here. So I'll turn on the first one, and this one's called Low, and my screen just told me it says Low, L-O, Lo-Fi effect. So it immediately takes kind of that high fidelity and does a kind of an interesting bit reduction thing. Now they've made this very simple to edit these effects on a gig in real time, because we give you 2 controls, depth and rate. So let's see what happens when I change those. So right now the depth is pretty low, but if I turn up the rate, what that's doing is it's taking the actual bit level and it's reducing it. So it's really adding a lot of interesting kind of grungy sort of sounds to here. Completely changing the sound of this. Now I don't like it that much. I'll probably pull it back here. So I have this kind of... Okay, now what about the second effect? That's just one of the effects. I'll turn off that first effect and I'll turn on the second one. Oh, the second one I have here is a reverse gate reverb. So I love this one because it gives you this sort of like whop sound. So right now, because I have the depth and rate all the way up, you don't hear my initial attack. All you hear is the return of the effect coming in. So what I like to do is take this maybe down a little bit on the depth so I hear a little bit of my attack, but I still get this after kind of wave from the reverse gate in there. So I adjust that kind of how I want it in taste. So let's combine those 2 effects in here. So I wanted this to be sort of more of a lo-fi effect. So I'm going to turn off that section. I'll turn on the B key section here, and we'll see what we have here. So this one is just an analog pad. And again, I have the single knob filter and EG control here. So we'll check the filter first, see what we can do there. So I can brighten it up or darken it, so we'll keep it a little bit brighter. Now there's 8 settings for this filter type. You can do some kind of interesting things with different resonance curves or flat resonance or an increase in resonance. Same thing with the EG. You can do things where it can just be the first part, attack, sustain, decay, and release. So it could do that, or it could do maybe a little bit of attack and release simultaneously. And with this one, it's doing just decay. So as I hold it down, it just sustains a little bit longer in here. Okay, so I've kind of got this where I want it. Now let's kind of engage the effects. Okay, the first one I added on here is just a compressor. And the reason why the compressor is really cool, because it can definitely do the thing where if I turn up the depth, it really does in really fast gain reduction. But the thing I like about the compressor too is that it gives me a little bit of boost in the signal if I need it. So if I turn it on, you hear it immediately kind of give it a little bit more boost in here. Now if I were to turn the depth up all the way, it's definitely now doing its gain reduction. As I pull this back, it'll get a little louder. But it's just kind of the fine control over the sound. So that's kind of more of the conventional sort of effects in here. The second one I'll add in here, this one is touch wah. Now I added this one because I sort of like how it does its because it responds to my velocity sensitivity. So each time if I hit it harder, it opens up the wah effect a little bit more. So combine those two. So now I have these two pads over here using these effects that I have. So right now, 4 simultaneous effects, and the reverb hasn't been turned on yet. So I'll go ahead and turn that on so we have maybe a little bit of reverb in there too. Okay, so let me turn off these 2 effects, and let me turn on the organ section. Now, in this case, the organ section, I'm not really using it as a conventional sort of organ thing. It is the F1 organ, so it's the sine wave organ, but I have the drawbars very, very lightly down here. So it's kind of a little wispy. It's kind of this sort of wispy kind of thing in here. But what I also did was I turned on sustain pedal for this. Usually the sustain pedal is in the off position because you use the expression pedal to get your like you do it on organ. But now I'm using it in sort of this different way here, as sort of as a pad kind of thing. Now, so we have our 2 insertion effects here that we use, right, for the keys A and B, but we also have this other, what I call the utility effect. The utility effect here can do a lot of things. There's also where our tap tempo delay is in here. So now you have tap tempo delay, which is very cool to have. But it's also where my looper delay, and I'll show you the looper delay in a second here. But with this one, in this case, I applied the VCM flanger to the F1. Now that's going to change the organ sound entirely to give it this. So that's just that effect. Now if I turn them both on, check out what I've done with this very weird affected pad now. Again, so much of the coolness of this instrument are the effects. There's just tons of really cool effects. Everything, like I say, from conventional effects to more kind of creative, esoteric, weird effects. Cool stuff. I love it for that reason. Now I'll kind of move over to, you may have seen me do this before. I did it last year with the CP88. It works a little different here. This is what I call my looper demo. So what I haven't done here, I've set up two different live set sounds. Just to briefly, what is a live set sound? Live set sound is just a place where I store my front panel settings, where I turn on things. I can instantly recall them in the live set sound. So it's basically exactly that, an instant recall for all the panel settings. So what Looper Town is, and I have the next one is going to be called Looper City. So I'm going to move between two live sets. And the cool thing about this is that I can move from one to the other and have this seamless sound switching. In more of a kind of conventional way, you'd use seamless sound switching, which we talked to Clifton Williams about. He plays with Babyface, and one thing that he uses on the montage is he likes to kind of put a pad down, right? And then he switches to another live set sound, but he retains this pad from the other one. So the music keeps going. You move right to the next one. Well, CP, YC, they both do this as well. But with the YC61, you go to another level entirely because I can set the two looper delays at the same tempo. So I can move from one, set up a loop, do the next one, and have that loop and add to it. Then I can disengage the effect and play over the top. So totally what I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So check it out. First of all, I'm going to start with my something to play to. So I have a little. Now that's using just the organ percussion. So I have all the drawbars down. All you hear is the percussion. And it's a nice kind of thing to have for the. So I got that going here. Now I'll switch to the lower manual here, turn my expression all the way down, and kind of just add a little. Plus I have pitch bend assigned to this. Try doing that with your drawbar organ. So I got some kind of weird. So that's all just the organ. So I turn off that section now. I'll turn on this section. And this one's a kalimba, but I'm running the kalimba through a ring modulator and just what's called the simple rotary effect. So check this out. This is a cool sound. Now Now with the ring modulator, if you adjust the rate of the ring modulator, you get the kind of little squigglies. Little magical squigglies. Now, this one is OB brass, so this is a synth brass sound, but I have it with the slicer effect, another effect we have in here that's kind of what you wouldn't really maybe expect in a stage keyboard, but it's got these kind of cool things. So with this one, I'll drop the octave down and bring in kind of a little, just a little. Okay, so that's just one of my live set sounds. Now I'm going to switch to the next one, and you notice that the previous one is still going. That's that seamless sound switching, right? So with this one, I'll turn on my looper delay. And let's see, how about I add FM tubular bells? Because it has an FM engine, we have some of these cool FM sounds, so I can add sort of... And then FM choir, I like to do this one to sneak this one in. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so now what I did, I just turned on the organ sound. I'm gonna bring this down in volume a little bit here. And if I touch the effect here and turn it off, notice the loop is still going. The two live set loops are happening, but now I can play over the top of it and kind of... So that is pretty cool, I must admit. It's cool because, again, you wouldn't really necessarily expect these kind of creative options out of something that says stage keyboard. It's a stage keyboard, but it has a lot of creative options for you to explore. And this is just a little tiny bit of the things that you can do using the effects, the key section, and the organ in the new YC61 stage keyboard. Again, this is the coolest instrument I've seen in my career in a long time. And the thing I love about this is that it's made out of aluminum alloy. So it's super durable, but I am picking it up with one hand because it's 16 pounds or 7 kilograms for those that use the metric system correctly, I must say. I wish we did sometimes. But anyway, really, really, really nice, lightweight with all these killer effects. So again, this was focusing on the effects in the YC61. Later on, I'll do one a little bit more about the keys section, and we'll check that out. There's a lot more to come here on the live streams today with both some interviews, some great playing you saw with Jonas and Stefan, who just came before me. And if watching Stefan play the organ is pretty cool, isn't it? So anyway, watch some more. It's coming up again. Thanks a lot for watching. This is Blake Angelos from NAMM 2020 with the YC61. Stay tuned. There's more coming.